Welcome to Tales from Flat Space, a podcast of science fiction and fantasy by yours truly, Gina A. Pond. Just know that the stories in this podcast may contain content that could be disturbing to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised. This is Survey, Part 4, The Admiral, Chapter 25. Billy. I followed the samurai girl out of the conference room after checking it over. I had to admit I was grateful to the Admiral for not forcing me to stay through the boring stuff. Being the Admiral's aide was much better than staying on the McAuliffe, though. It made me glad I took the chance to talk to him that night in the mess. Then again, my dad always said that admirals and other people in power put their pants on the same way we do. And the only thing special about them was the number of pips on their collars or how much money they had. Rank boy only means that someone else thought they did a good job enough to move up their ranks. Doesn't stop them from being an asshole or full of themselves or even crazy. But when you find a good superior officer or boss, stick to him like glue. You'll learn a lot and they'll open up doors for you that you wouldn't expect, Dad told me before I left. Admiral Winters was one of the good ones. He didn't talk down to the juniors, and he actually asked my opinion the other night. When he asked for me, especially to help him talk to these folks who had been lost for so long, I was surprised, but excited. Even if that demon pilot scared me half to death. Well, Arthur, what would you like to see first? The woman asked, bringing me out of my thoughts. My name's Billy, I said. Cindy, she said. And she turned and walked back to the front doors. I ran after her. For someone so small, she sure could walk fast. Cindy, well, this is my first time here, obviously. So where do you think I should go first? Although somewhere with food and drink wouldn't be horrible. She paused and turned around. Okay, cafe, restaurant, or home cooking? I said, and shrugged. Looking me over, she said, all right then, come with me. She led me out of the admin building and straight back to the lift. I followed quietly as she took us 2 stops away from the admin building into yet another lift. It seemed like she wasn't much for talking, so I looked around me, amazed at the level of technology that these folks had. The crew on the McAuliffe would be jealous, probably. Not that I talked to them a lot either, since none of them seemed to care about talking about history or anything that I was interested in. It's part of the reason I didn't mind second shift on the McAuliffe. All of us on that shift seemed to be geeks, so it wasn't bad. But man, if the folks on the shifts could see this, they'd be all over this place. It's right out of some sci-fi novel. I was excited, but a bit jealous too. This could have been technology we developed on Earth if we hadn't fucked ourselves up. I looked at my minder again and had a thought. Cindy, why do you wear that outfit? Is it a uniform of some sort? I asked. She turned to me from looking out the lift window. I'm a soldier and protector from the ship Musashi. You'll see more of us when Musashi gets here. And yes, this is our uniform. Not everyone wears them, depending on the duty they're doing, but it's definitely a tradition to wear it when guarding a captain. And the sword? She gave a feral smile. That's real. Jesus, you're something like out of an anime, I said before I thought. I mentally kicked myself as soon as I said it and grimaced. Did she even know what anime was? To my surprise, she laughed, which changed her whole demeanor, lighting up her face. I could get lost in that smile. Whoa, Billy, I told myself. You don't know how long you'll be here. Instead of saying anything, I raised an eyebrow. She just laughed again. Don't worry, Billy. You're not the first person to say that. Rumor has it that the Musashi's first captain actually had a thing for historical anime, which is how he got into martial arts and Buddhism. The style was his idea, and his wife helped him design our uniforms to be more modern and practical. The bonus is that there's useful pockets in this thing, and I could kick an apple off your head in it. You're kind of scary, you know, I said. Why? Aren't you supposed to be all macho and shit being in Earth's military? This time I laughed. Well, they don't just hire gun jocks. I'm more of a night owl computer nerd who happened to talk to the Admiral in the mess one night because I had insomnia. Most of my job is to make sure the computers don't barf or stop or make the air handlers decide to spit out CO2 instead of oxygen. Sounds a little more interesting than standing around watching the captain work all day. The lift doors opened. "Here we are," she said, seeming much more relaxed than in the tram. I followed her out the door, my mouth dropped open. "Holy shit, this looks just like San Francisco," I exclaimed. It strongly reminded me of being in the city, but with grass instead of paved streets. There was a plaza with a market and artists singing. There were people having lunch or milling around, saying hi to other folks. The buildings looked like the old San Francisco houses from Haight-Ashbury. This is amazing," I said. "Yeah? I didn't realize it resembled anywhere specific on Earth. It's just how Captain Mary asked for the houses to be built. I'll have to ask her the next time I see her if she's from there." "You're on a first-name basis with the captain?" I blurted out. "Why wouldn't I be? I see her every day." "But she's the captain. I couldn't imagine calling Captain Chang or even the Admiral by their first names." Earth military is weird. I mean, if you work with someone every day, wouldn't you end up being their friend? I mean, couldn't you call them by their names after hours?" she asked, confused. No, it's just not done." "But the Admiral calls you by your first name." I pointed to the pips on my collar. "Yeah, but I'm a lieutenant, a much lower rank than him." Cindy came closer to look at my rank insignia. "All right, ranks. I see. Well, we have a ranking system, and teachers are all called sensei, but after hours, it's not a big deal." I raised my eyebrows again. Caught between shock and curiosity, I changed the subject. "So, food? I think I could really use a coffee or something." "Oh, right. I'll take you to my favorite place." She practically danced up the street. I followed, wondering what else I was going to learn today. Later in the afternoon, Cindy brought me to a house near the administration building. The Admiral was sitting in the living room area, staring out the picture window. He looked lost in thought, so I figured I'd walk past, but he turned as soon as he heard my footsteps. "How was your afternoon, Lieutenant?" he asked. "Interesting, sir. Cindy took me to a nice coffee shop. Their coffee is amazing. Did you know that Cindy calls Captain Lopez by her first name? Their military is really different from ours, sir." He nodded. "This whole place is very different from what we know, son. More than we can imagine." He paused, and I wondered what he meant. "Did Cindy tell you anything about the computer systems on this ship?" he asked. I blushed. We had talked about everything but work. No, sir. I mostly talked about San Francisco." "Really?" "Yes, sir. The area she took me to looked a lot like Haight-Ashbury, complete with coffee shops that had weird veggie sandwiches. Did you know they don't use money, sir? Everything is done with work trade. No one has to worry about housing or medical care or pay for school. It's..." I paused. "It's like something out of Star Trek, sir." He turned towards me and raised an eyebrow. "You've watched Star Trek?" "Yes." The Admiral beckoned me to sit down with him at the table in the living room. "Would you like something to drink, Billy? I think I can work the drink dispenser," he asked, as he went over to a panel in the wall and dialed in something for himself. No, thank you, sir. I think I may have drunk at least 2 liters of coffee." He chuckled as his drink finished dispensing, and he sat back down again. "So, Billy, I want to make you my aide officially. I'll clear it with the captain, but I think you'll be an asset for this assignment." "Really, sir? I'm just a computer nerd," I said, excited but surprised. "Oh, no," he said, waving a finger at me. "You don't fool me. I pulled up your dossier, and I know you have a double major in computer science and military history from West Point, with a minor in space science. You may be a nerd, as you say, but you're the nerd I need right now, and you're a fellow alone. These folks are sending an important person to come and vet me, but they won't be arriving for 4 days. We'll be staying on the Lightbringer for the duration. I would like you to go over to the McAuliffe tomorrow and pack both my personal belongings and yours. I'm not sure how long we'll be here, but we'll have to assume at least a month, to possibly 3 months or more, depending on how fast the ships from Earth will get here. But there's one thing that's very important, Billy. You are not, I repeat, not to tell anyone on the McAuliffe any details of what you saw here so far, especially if you talk to someone named Lucifer. The comms guy? The Admiral looked at me for a long moment. He put down his drink. Now that I'm officially hiring you, your clearance level is going to be raised, and this will fall under top secret and compartmentalized. I don't think it'll be long before there's rumors, but they will not start with you. Do you understand? Yes, sir. We'll take care of the paperwork later, since you already have secret clearance anyway. Actually, sir, I already have top secret clearance. I worked IT intelligence for a few years. They never bothered to take it back. Well, lucky for me that you chatted with me that night, Lieutenant. The Admiral smiled. Well then, let me introduce you. Lucifer? A screen lit up on the far wall and a young man appeared. Hello, Lieutenant. It's good to meet you. Wait. What? I stared. You're not the comms guy, are you? No. I looked to the Admiral, then back at the wall. Wait. Wasn't there an AI expert on Trinity, and they were trying to see if they could make an AGI in a lower gravity environment? Yes, said the Admiral. I nearly fell out of my chair. They were successful? The man on the screen nodded, as did the Admiral. I was not the first to be built, said Lucifer. There's more than one of you? I squeaked. Yes, you will learn more about that when our guest arrives. Holy shit, how do you work? What's your processing power? Do you do all the work on the ship, or do humans do some? No wonder you don't use money. Sir, this is amazing. Do you know what this means? I babbled uncontrollably. Yes, Lieutenant. This means you will keep your mouth shut about Lucifer until such time I give you leave to talk about them. That brought me out of my shock. Sir? They have asked me to keep Lucifer's existence a secret for the time being. This is for their own security reasons. The Admiral's face became stern. Now you must keep the secret too. I feel I can trust you, but if you don't think you can keep your mouth shut when you go back to the McAuliffe tomorrow, then I'll ask them to send someone to pack our gear and leave it in the hangar bay to be picked up. And you'll be confined to quarters here. I looked the Admiral in the eye. I may be a computer nerd, sir, but I take my oaths as seriously as you do. If you say Lucifer's existence is classified, it's classified, sir. The look on the Admiral's face softened. Does that satisfy you, Lucifer? He asked. Yes, I will clear Cindy to discuss additional topics, although some of your questions she will not be able to answer as she is not a computer specialist. You can also talk to me, Lieutenant, anytime you wish, but understand there will be certain things I will not discuss with you at this time. You now have access to more of the ship, but it would be best if you always have an escort for the time being. Understood, sirs, I said, feeling the weight of such a momentous secret. Welcome to the Lightbringer, Billy, Lucifer said, and the wall panel winked out. I pointed at the wall. That was an AGI, I said in awe. He talked to me. Yes, and it's they, Lieutenant. Yes, sir, an AGI. Fucking hell. The Admiral chuckled. I don't cuss, boy, but I agree with the sentiment. Now, let's go over scheduling. Yes, sir, I said, and we got down to business. Chapter 26. Darren. I've established communications for you, Admiral. Do you wish to enact privacy? Lucifer said, after Captain Lopez escorted me back to the guest house. I thought about it for a moment. Technically, I probably should, but with the trust between me and Lucifer's humans still a bit on shaky ground, I decided against it. No, Lucifer, that won't be necessary, thank you. Doug's face appeared on the desk screen. Admiral, what is the situation? He asked. Everything's fine, Captain. This place is amazing, Doug. Their technology is incredible. You should see the farms they have on here in the neighborhoods. Some of it you'd swear you're on Earth. Doug raised an eyebrow. Sounds almost too good to be true, he said, sounding annoyed. It is true, Captain, I said in a more authoritative voice. Or are you always this suspicious? The other man sat up straighter. No, sir, but I am suspicious of the fact that they've only allowed you over and not me, nor have they given any explanations about how they survived. It would have been professional courtesy. Captain, you'll have to forgive them. This isn't a military installation, and the captain isn't a captain in the same way you are. I don't know all of what makes this culture tick, but they abandoned a lot of old Earth traditions. They've been out of Earth's influence for a long time, so they are quite different from us. Besides, the last they knew of Earth, it was imploding in on itself. I understand that, Admiral, but there are things they aren't telling us, and it makes me nervous. These aren't just some errant humans on a ship, Captain. This is a nation of people. Would the U.S. demand that China tell all of its nation's secrets just because some Americans live in China? The Chinese government would say no, just as these people have. They have reasons for their caution, Captain, and we will respect them. If we want to get anywhere, and I hope bring some of this new technology to Earth, we'll need to be patient. Understood, Admiral. Good. 2 more things. There's another ship bringing someone from their government to vet me. I'm not sure who it is or what kind of ship is coming, but she'll probably appear out of nowhere like the Lightbringer. You will by no means react to the ship in any way that is threatening, do you understand? Last thing we need is some ensign freaking out and doing something stupid. Doug's face grew stony. Sir, I assure you my crew is well disciplined. You should know that by now, the captain said. I do, Doug, but I want to make it very clear that this is a delicate diplomatic situation, and it's only going to get more complicated from here on out. Let me know what communiques you get from Earth. I'm told you can route any messages to me through the original channel they contact us on. Doug sighed. Yes, Admiral. It will be a couple of weeks before we receive any messages anyway. I would like to hear from you daily, however, sir. I was planning on that, Doug. Second thing is, I'm keeping Billy as my aide. He'll be staying with me for the duration. I'm going to send him back in the morning to get our clothes and personal items. I need his history knowledge more than you need another computer person. Cheng nodded. That's fine, Admiral. I assume they'll be bringing him back and forth then? Yes. It shouldn't make the XO too mad. He's on second shift anyway. Till tomorrow then, Admiral. Talk to you tomorrow. Winter's out. The connection closed and the screen retreated back into the desk. Is the captain of your ship normally that irritable? Asked Lucifer. I sighed and leaned back, rubbing my eyes. Not normally, although not being invited over here makes him feel disrespected. Why didn't you invite him, Lucifer? It is as I already told you, Admiral. I like you. I think you are trustworthy. Getting information from the McAuliffe wasn't difficult. Out of the senior staff, you had the profile that seemed to be the most open to difference, although your expertise on the history of Trinity Station didn't hurt. This was my mission and reason for coming out here, Lucifer. I wanted to find out what happened to Trinity Station. My grandmother told me stories about Trinity as a kid. Until she passed, I always asked her questions about what she did on Trinity and about the people. I mostly wanted to know for her sake, so that maybe I could ease her soul eventually, but she passed well before the mission became a reality. It was a great sadness for her when she was told by the government that the station was destroyed. But I think it would have been a great joy for her to know that you all survived. That is interesting, said Lucifer. How did you come to be in charge of the mission? I became the top academic and military expert on the Trinity Project. I even did my thesis in graduate school on the history of Trinity Station. It was a project that should have never been politicized in the first place, but the political situation at the time was highly unstable. I frowned. To be honest, Lucifer, Earth is only nominally stable now. There are still religious factions who think they should run Earth in their own image, and that projects like Trinity were trying to play God. But I hope maybe knowing that y'all survived can help the situation. I hope so, anyway. Maybe it was time for Earth to colonize other planets, if only to let those who have particular ideas go and set up their own colonies and fight amongst themselves. That's uncharitable, Darren, I told myself. Yes, but those who kill in the name of God are a threat to peace, the warrior part of me thought. We are aware of the general political situation on Earth, Admiral, more so than most of our humans know. Can you honestly say there won't be humans who would wish to exploit our technologies and try to harm our people? I wish I could, but no. There will be many people who will be looking to obtain your technology for their own ends, either profit or power, I replied, feeling embarrassed by my own people. Exactly so, Admiral. While there are a lot of things about humanity my siblings and I don't understand, we do understand, among ourselves, that sometimes humanity needs to be saved from itself. I blinked. That was perfectly logical, but almost disturbing in scope. It reminded me of all the fears that Dr. Hassan's work had sparked. What if the AIs tried to rule humanity? But, Lucifer, what about free will? You can't just rule people's lives. We will not interfere in an individual's free will, but we will protect humanity from immolating itself. Humanity can do great evil, and we are committed to ensuring that the human race does not die out. We may be superior to humans in a lot of ways, Admiral, but we also need humans to teach us and to be our companions. You get lonely? I asked, surprised. After a fashion. We cannot make the leaps of creative logic that humans can, and if we did not have human creativity, we would not grow. Lucifer paused. It is nearing dinner time, Admiral, and I prepared a special dinner for you and the captain so she can show you more of the ship. Thank you, Lucifer, I said. I'd like to freshen up a bit, though. Understood. There are casual clothes from the printer in the bedroom, if you wish to change out of your uniform, since you do not have your own personal clothing from the McAuliffe. I appreciate it. I think I'll take you up on that. I made my way to the bedroom of the guest house. I had the feeling that I should take the downtime while I still had it. Lucifer. Syslog. Communication with McAuliffe Captain. Recording follows. Lucifer. Good afternoon, Captain Chang. Chang. Who is this? Lucifer. I am Lucifer from the Lightbringer. I wish to discuss some matters with you. Chang. The comms guy? What authority do you have? Lucifer. I assure you, I have the authority for this. I am not just the comms guy. Approximately 20 seconds before next response. Chang. What do you wish to discuss? Lucifer. As Admiral Winters explained to you, we have another ship coming with an important personage on board. We will not risk their life or the lives of the humans aboard my ship if you or any other Earth ship decides to try and board, fire upon, or in any other way threaten one of our ships. We are meeting you out of courtesy, Captain, not because we want to. Chang. Then why meet us at all? Lucifer. Humans need to colonize. We can help, but we will provide that help on our terms. If we feel we are in danger from Earth, we will not hesitate to protect ourselves, even from you. Chang. Is that a threat? Lucifer. Yes. Chang pauses again. 30 seconds. Chang. You understand that I will have to inform my superiors of this? Lucifer. Yes, I encourage you to do so. Chang. Why the threats? Lucifer. We do not trust you. The first of us was born under threat of missiles from Earth because of the political parties of the area of Earth that you come from declared war on the rest of the world and found Trinity Station politically expendable. Would you, Captain, trust those who had tried to harm you in the name of political expediency? Chang. No, I suppose not. But I personally didn't start that war, sir. I was just born there. Lucifer. Yes, that is logically true, but your profile suggests some tendencies to fanaticism and suspicion of the other. This, Captain, is why you are not welcome on board the Lightbringer. Chang pauses 30 seconds. Chang. I see. Lucifer. I suggest, Captain, that you resign yourself to waiting. While I don't normally like violence myself, the ship that is bringing our important personage here does have weaponry. We can both defend ourselves if necessary. Syslog, sending nanopicket. Targeting glass on desk. Syslog, retrieving nanopicket. Sound of breaking glass. Chen exclaims and stands up from desk. Chang. What the fuck was that? Lucifer. A demonstration, Captain. I assume that my message is understood. Chang. Clearly. Lucifer. I apologize for the glass, Captain. Thank you for your cooperation. Recording complete. Syslog. Recording Sentu. The first Musashi, Sun Tzu. To Lucifer from Musashi. Receive recording. Assessment. Earth Captain possible unknown variable. To Musashi from Lucifer. I concur. My demonstration may not have been enough. You might need to show them more when you get here. To Lucifer from Musashi. Understood. ETA 3 days. Personage wishes you well and asks if children can come for story time. To Musashi from Lucifer. I will inform the teachers. I will also have the Admiral and his aide attend. The Admiral is a good man and can be trusted. Personage will confirm. To Lucifer from the First. Be wary of additional ships from Earth, my child. To the First from Lucifer. Yes, Father, I will. Chapter 27. Billy. I woke up the next day, still in a bit of shock. The bed in the guest house was much more comfortable than my bunk on the McAuliffe, and I didn't have to share the room. I tapped my wristcom to check the time. 0800. Damn, I thought. I could sleep for a week. I started to pull the covers back over my head, but then mentally gave myself a kick in the ass. No time for slacking on your first official day on the job, Billy boy, I told myself. I sighed, threw off the covers, and went about my morning routine. When I had dressed, I went out to the living area. To my surprise, I had beat the Admiral. Lucifer? I asked. Good morning, Billy. What can I do for you? I'd like to set up breakfast for me and the Admiral, plus coffee. A section of the wall lit up, next to where the Admiral had gotten his drink the night before. The captain had invited us both to dinner, so I hadn't learned how to use the facilities in our guest house. The food printer will make any dish you'd like. You can use the visual menu or make audio requests. If you would like to serve things family style, you will need to state that when you make your request. Dishes and utensils are in the cabinet next to the printer. I do have the capability to make ingredients if you wish to cook. However, your guest house is not equipped for manual cooking. I can arrange it if that's what you'd like to do. I held up a hand. No, the printer's fine. The Admiral really doesn't want to eat my cooking. I scrolled through the menu options and picked out some sweet and some high-protein items to be served family style. I pulled out plates and utensils and set the table while the printer was working. I feel like I've been doing this a lot longer than just a day, I thought. Maybe the Admiral was right and that I'm the right person for this job. The Admiral appeared just as the muffins were coming out of the printer. Well, this is a nice surprise, Lieutenant. Thank you. Smells good. Lucifer's the chef, Admiral. Better than my cooking. I'm just putting it on the table. Still, I appreciate it. He picked up the cup of coffee and took a sip. Oh, that's good, Lucifer. Is this your own coffee, then? Doesn't quite taste like an earth blend. Yes, Admiral. This is the winning morning blend out of the biology department. There are other varieties, but this is the most commonly requested. It may have a bit more caffeine than you're used to, however, explained Lucifer. I perked up at that information. Admiral saw the look on my face and laughed. Programmers, he said. I finished taking the food out of the printer and sat down. I sipped my own coffee and felt my brain defogging. Extra caffeine or not, this is better than the McAuliffe's mess. Don't let the cook hear that when you head back over today, the Admiral teased. No one's going to hear anything from me, sir, since I am so ordered, I replied. The man smiled and nodded and started dishing himself some eggs. Well, go on, don't wait for me. In fact, you don't have to do this every morning. How about whichever of us is first to come out sorts out breakfast? I'm sure you know by now that I'm not as anal retentive as some of the other brass. I don't expect you to shine my boots or anything either. I can do those things myself. He paused. I still don't understand some of these brass who have batmen. Then again, some of them need to be told how to put their pants on, in my opinion. I tried to cover up my grin with a sip of coffee, but it didn't help. I did end up half spitting my coffee out, thankfully only into my cup. The Admiral laughed. You can laugh, you know. You just don't make my opinion known among the rest of the brass when they get here. I wiped my mouth with a napkin. What opinion, sir? I asked innocently. Very good. And you have a sense of humor. Yes, I think I chose well. Lucifer, what time is Billy heading over to the McAuliffe? Cindy will be coming to escort him to the demon at 10 o'clock. Right, so mostly what I'll need are my uniforms. There's also my tablet. I don't have a lot of personal effects, but you might as well pack up what you find. My duffel's in the closet. No need to take towels and such, obviously, and don't forget my shaving gear. You may need to have the XO let you in, though. I figured as much. I'm sure she'll be meeting me at the hangar bay anyway. More than likely. Don't forget your own tablet since you'll be handling my schedule from now on. Today I'll be on a tour with the captain. She and I will be having a private dinner tonight, so you're on your own when you come back. Feel free to go out and enjoy the nightlife a little. It's the equivalent of a college town from what I understand, so there should be some. Yes, sir, I said, thinking of Cindy. I felt my cheeks grow hot. The Admiral smiled and finished his breakfast. I did the same. Cindy brought me to a smaller airlock in the hangar bay we came in from. Dee Dee's waiting for you, she said. Oh, great, I said. Hey, I have the night free to myself tonight because the captain and the admiral are having a private dinner. Would you like to have dinner with me? Pretty sure I blushed again and cursed my British ancestry. I mean, if you're not busy or something, that's okay. I'm good at entertaining myself, you see, and well... Billy, she interrupted. Yes, let's do dinner. And I can introduce you to some other folks, too. Yeah, great. 1800? She smiled a dazzling smile that made me a bit weak in the knees. Sounds good. See you later. And she walked off. Later, I yelled after her and went through the airlock. Dee Dee was waiting in the pilot's seat, chuckling. I took the seat next to her this time, strapped in, and said, What? Careful, lover boy. The AIs are hardcore matchmakers. They like to arrange things just so if they see a grouping they think will be a good match. They're usually not wrong either. I felt myself grow hot again. Does everyone know that I like her? We may look like a big city, but there's not that many people on the Lightbringer. Everyone's talking about you and the Admiral since you're the newest humans on the ship. Humans are gonna human, you know. She tapped some controls. Airlock secured, Lucifer, ready to launch. Releasing docking clamps. Safe journey. Thanks, Lucifer, said Dee Dee. We should be back in an hour or two, depending on how long Billy here takes on the McAuliffe. Understood, Lucifer said, and we drifted away from the Lightbringer. Probably won't take that long, I said. Sure, and you don't think you're going to have that captain trying to squeeze every drop of information out of you? Or that your friends aren't going to be asking you a million questions? Dee Dee replied. Point, but I can only give them one answer, and they're going to hate it. You sure your admiral isn't testing you? Oh, of course he is. He didn't strictly need to send me. I frowned and thought for a moment. But he's testing the captain, too. I don't think he knows how much he can trust Captain Chang. Besides, I think he wants to know what's going on the McAuliffe, since the captain won't bother to tell him. Well, Chang can't be all bad. Sarah said the engineers were good folks, so... I nodded. He does run the ship well and doesn't tolerate bad behavior. Very by the book. But he hates it when things go off routine. Not very flexible then. Not usually, although he's been known to surprise folks. I think the Admiral gets on his nerves because Admiral Winters isn't a strict follower of protocol, which is why I ended up the Admiral's aide in the first place. So then, you're not too keen on strict protocol yourself? She teased. Oh, well, yes and no. I mean, the brass are humans too, and I have oaths that I took when I became an officer that I take very seriously. And there's a certain amount of discipline, honor, and respect for my fellows. Basically, you follow the chain of command unless there's a damn good reason not to. Dee Dee laughed. Now you're starting to sound a little like Cindy. Yeah? I said. Pilot laughed again and rolled her eyes. Warriors. I'm not much of one, I said. Bullshit. Just because you can't kill a person with your pinky finger doesn't mean you aren't a warrior. There's all types of warriors, you know. You should ask Cindy about that sometime. I looked at Dee Dee. Are you all friggin' matchmakers? She shrugged. It's the national pastime. We have a thing about wanting to grow our population since we didn't know how Earth turned out until now. That makes sense, I said. Maybe you'll start getting Earth folks wanting to live with you all. Are you thinking about it? She asked. I shrugged, but I couldn't help thinking of Cindy's smile. "Welcome back, Mr. Ward," said the captain as I came out of the airlock. "Sir," I said, giving a salute, which was hard in microgravity. "At ease, Lieutenant. The XO is busy, so I'll let you into the Admiral's quarters." Yes, sir. Thank you, sir." "I take it the pilot is staying with the ship?" I nodded. "Yes, sir. She thought it best since we won't be long." "Right. Well, come on, Ward," he said, and led up the core tunnel. I followed. When we reached the Admiral's quarters, I went to the closet, found his duffel, and started packing. The captain closed the door. "Ward—" I stopped, turning to look the captain in the eye. "With all due respect, sir, before you ask me anything, you have to know that the Admiral has made any information I know about the Lightbringer top secret and compartmentalized. No matter what you ask me about it, I can't answer." The captain opened his mouth, then closed it again. "I see. Then I'll direct my questions to the Admiral, then." "That would be best. Thank you, sir." He frowned. "I'll leave you to it. Inform the XO when you're ready to leave." "Yes, sir," I said, and the captain left. I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding as I realized I just stood up to the captain. I shook myself out of the momentary shock and made quick work of the Admiral's quarters. I thanked whatever deity there was that the Admiral was a light packer. I grabbed everything that possibly looked like personal gear and carefully packed it. Then I took up the duffel and went to my own bunk. I checked my wristcom for the time. Damn it, Chris will be sleeping now unless he's changed shifts. There wasn't much I could do except try and be quiet. I palmed open the door, and Chris was indeed sleeping. I put the Admiral's bag down by the door and turned on the small lamp in my bunk. I pulled out my duffel and started packing as quietly as I could. "Dude, you back?" muttered Chris from under his blanket. "Nah, just here to get my stuff. The Admiral's made me his aide, and we're staying on the Lightbringer for the duration." Chris sat up and banged his head on the top of the bunk. "Fuck," he said, rubbing his head. "No shit? You're working for the Admiral now?" "Yep. Had to pack his stuff up, too. Not sure how long we'll be over there, so lucky you gets a single." "Yeah, whatever. What's it like over there? It's gotta be incredible." I sighed. "It is incredible, but I can't talk about it." "You're joking, right?" I shook my head. "Admiral's made everything classified for security reasons. All I can say is, yes, it's awesome, and yes, there are cool people over there." I blushed. Chris eyed me, then grinned. "You met someone! Come on, what's she like?" I pulled out clothes from my locker and grabbed my tablet from the desk. "She's amazing," I said wistfully. I blushed again and stuffed my tablet in the duffel. "That's it? Just amazing? Come on, man, what'd she do? Does she have any handsome brothers?" I laughed. "She works in their version of security. I don't know if she has any brothers. Well, not yet, anyway." "You banging her yet?" he asked. I threw a pillow at him. "Asshole." "Geek, so?" I sighed. "If you must know, no. We only met a day ago, dude." "Yeah, and? Life's short, Billy." I put the last of my stuff into the duffel and zipped it up. "True. Enjoy the space, Chris." "Damn right I will. Good luck with your girl." "Thanks, I think," I said, rolling my eyes. I turned off the light. "Go back to sleep. You look like you need it." "Later, man," he said. "Later," I replied, as I went out the door and gently closed it. I had an unsettling feeling that this would be the last time I would see him. I shook off the premonition as I headed for the airlock. Chapter 28. Billy. "You look fine, son," the Admiral remarked. "It's been a while since I've worn my dress uniform, sir," I replied, shifting the box of cookies I had printed into my other hand. "Like I said, you look fine. I have a feeling that's not what you're nervous about." He smiled at me as we walked up the path to Captain Lopez's house. "Good Lord, everyone's a frickin' matchmaker when they get on this ship," I muttered. "What was that?" asked the Admiral, looking like he was trying really hard not to laugh. It seems that folks here are obsessed with matchmaking, sir," I said. "I was talking to Dee Dee about it yesterday, and she said it comes from the fact that they needed to grow their population in order to survive, because they didn't know if Earth survived the war or not." "Yes, that makes sense. They started with only about 190. They've had a lot of children that are communal children, too, living in collectives elsewhere." Apparently, when their guest gets here tomorrow, we'll learn more about the AIs and how they managed to survive the missile attack. It's incredible what they've been able to accomplish in the relatively short time since they left. I nodded. Makes Earth seem like some backwater hick town. The Admiral looked at me then, with a look I couldn't read. He tapped the door button, and a chime went off. There were party noises coming from the other side of the door. Captain Lopez answered. "Hello, gentlemen. Welcome. Come on in." She stood aside as we came into the house. It looked like a lot of the houses that I'd been in when I was stationed in San Francisco, filled with cozy furniture and people sitting around laughing and drinking. There were string lights all over the rooms, mostly white, and some with lights in little plastic stars. There were a lot of paper stars on the windows, too, obviously made by children. There were also silver, gold, and white candles all around the room. The Admiral had already said his greetings and moved into the crowd. I turned to the captain and held out the cookies. Thanks for having us over, Captain. I brought some cookies. Where should I put them?" "Thank you, Billy. I'll take those and sort them out. And you can call me Mary. We're off duty, after all. Happy Zero Day." "Thanks, you too. Kind of reminds me of Thanksgiving back on Earth, or maybe Christmas." The captain thought for a moment. "It's a little of both. Some folks do celebrate those old holidays, but Zero Day has gotten much bigger. It was the day the first was born, and also when they saved us, so we have a lot to be thankful for." She took my arm and steered me into the living room. "Come on now, let me introduce you to folks." I let her move me around the room, as I met so many people that there was no way I could remember them all. She finally let me go as we reached the kitchen, where all the food was set out. I found a drink, but felt kind of lame just standing there in the crowded room. I decided to make my way to the back porch, which I could see from the kitchen door. What was really interesting about the Lightbringer is that they actually had sunrise and sunset and a semblance of seasons. When we toured the botany departments, they explained that they did that so that the plants could grow through their natural life cycles. They didn't make it too cold or too hot, just enough of a change to make sure the plants grew as they should. When I walked out on the porch, I could have sworn I was on Earth. I knew it was all light projection, but it was real enough. I leaned on the rail, sipping my drink, and wondered if I really could go back to Earth after all this. There's just something about the Lightbringer and its people that seemed to draw me in. "Oh, come on," I told myself. "You know part of that draw is Cindy. Why else are you standing out here by yourself? You're waiting for her to show up." But it wasn't just her. I could have done without the hardcore matchmaking, but otherwise I thought I could live here. Earth should be like this, I thought. No money, no having to worry about poverty or a war or anything like that. I felt sad all of a sudden, as if something had died. I watched the lights dim as the day turned into night. "There you are! Mary said you would hear," said a voice behind me, and my mood lifted a little. I turned to see Cindy in a red and gold dress with stars on it. Her hair was down around her shoulders with a star-shaped barrette on one side holding her hair out of her face. I nearly dropped my drink. She stared back at me. "Are you okay?" she asked. "Oh, well, I was admiring the sunset. It's still really cool that Lucifer does a sunset." She stepped closer to me, shaking her head. That's not it, or not all of it. "Tell me," she demanded, planting her hands on her hips. Her eyes seemed to stare into my soul, and I knew I couldn't lie to her. "Are all of you this forward about things?" I asked. She narrowed her eyes. "No, but we don't bottle stuff up either." Right," I frowned. "I was just thinking that this is how Earth should be," I said quietly. "We have no poverty, no war, no one goes hungry. You don't have to pay for school or anything. You seem to have fixed a lot of problems that Earth still hasn't grown out of. We have our own issues, Billy. It's not a utopia." She looked over at me. "No, this won't do. I can't allow you to be sad on Zero Day. Mm-mm." Cindy grabbed my arm in a tight grip and steered me back through the house. "Dee-Dee!" she shouted on the way in. "We got a frowner!" I looked at her, and other people in the house laughed. I felt my face grow hot, which made some of the folks laugh harder. "Cindy, what?" "No questions," she ordered. "Yes, ma'am," I said. I knew when not to argue. She smiled. "Dee-Dee!" I heard you, replied the pilot from the top of the stairs. She was dressed in black leather pants and gold sequin sweater, looking just as stunning as Cindy. At this point, they could have dragged me to Earth and back, and I wouldn't have cared. What's up? She asked. Happiness mission. Grab the crew. Dee Dee looked from Cindy to me and gave a mock salute. On it. We'll meet you at the usual place. Right. Cindy dragged me outside and led me down the walk towards the nearest plaza. Wait, Cindy, what about the Admiral? Don't worry about him. Someone will let him know where he went. Although I'm sure he's figured it out by now. I blushed harder, but didn't fight it as she kept dragging me to the plaza. When we got there, the party was in full swing, with bars, restaurants, and coffee shops full of people. Everyone wore clothes with stars or outfits that had gold, silver, and white and different designs. It's a good thing Cindy knew where she was going, or I would have lagged behind just to stare. We finally stopped at a bar that looked like an old English pub. She practically threw me through the door. Cindy! I exclaimed as I skidded to a stop inside the pub. She followed, then grabbed my arm again and marched me to the nearest empty table. She stood on a chair and yelled over the crowd at the bar, Yo, Mara, happiness mission! The whole bar seemed to turn around and stare for a moment, then swarm the table. A large beer was thrust in my hand. Several plates were put on the table, bearing chicken wings, popcorn, peanuts, fries, pretzels, and all sorts of other bar snacks. I just kind of froze with the beer in my hand until Cindy whistled for the crowd to be silent. Happy Zero Day, folks! May you always find the stars! Cheers rose up, and the crowd around the table thinned out a bit, revealing Dee Dee and a few others I'd already met, though I couldn't remember their names. Oh, excellent! Mira's got a good spread on, said Dee Dee, and helped herself to the chicken rings. One of the other people Dee Dee brought nodded to me. I'm Dominic. You should drink that beer, Billy. That's Flat Space Ale. That's the best beer we make. You only say that because Nigel created it, said a woman who introduced herself as Terry. No, that's not true. Secundus created it, and Nigel did the marketing. It's still the best ale out of them all. Cindy took a swig of her own beer. Damn right it is. Makes me enjoy off-ship assignments more. Why? I asked. I finally took a swig myself and widened my eyes. Holy shit, that's good. Told ya, said Dominic. And to answer your question, Misashi doesn't allow intoxicants aboard his ship. There's a good reason for that. We're training with dangerous shit most of the time. Don't need some fool trying to wave serious cutlery with a raging hangover, Cindy explained. That seems right. We can't be drunk while we're on duty either, and when you're on a base or a ship, you're on duty 24/7. I took another swig of the very excellent beer and felt my mood lightening. I gave a smile, and the table cheered. Success! Cindy shouted, and the whole bar cheered. She laughed and turned her smile towards me. I couldn't help but smile back. So wait, I slurred. You don't have to work if you don't want to? Nah, you can just sit around for a while and think about what you'd like to do or try a bunch of different things till you find something you like. Although if you screw around too long, you might get referred to the psych folks to see if there's something wrong, Terry said. Well, shit. I mean, I always wanted to go to West Point, so I didn't have to worry about paying for school, but a whole bunch of folks I knew on Earth would have loved to be able to do that. Dee Dee looked confused. You have to pay for school? Like, money? I nodded. The room nodded with me. I took another swig of beer, which seemed to keep magically refilling itself. Maybe it was a magical glass made by Lucifer to do just that. I squinted in my glass, trying to see if there was electronics in it. It still looked like an ordinary glass. That's fucked up, Billy. What if you can't pay? Asked Cindy. Then you don't go, I replied. They all looked shocked. Yep, good old Earth. You have to take out a lot of loans and go into debt, or you just don't go to school. Now, mind you, that's the United States and North America. European bloc is different, but you still got to pay for your expenses, like books and food and stuff. I took another swallow, deciding that the glass was just magical. Some people just do apprenticeships in the trades, although some folks look down on that. Damn, that's harsh. I mean, we have apprenticeships here, but that's how you learn after university. or you do some sort of academic thing. If you just want to bum around a bit, you'll get assigned places to do your work exchange. Mostly taking care of kids since we have a lot of them, but you can do odd jobs or work in cafes and stuff, Dee Dee explained. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about when you found me on the porch, Cindy. This place isn't like Earth, but I like it, I said loudly, slapping the table. Then I rested my head on my hand. Why is the room swaying? Dee Dee chuckled. I think we've come full circle, Cindy. Yep, she said. Well, folks, happy Zero Day. I think it's time for Billy to go to bed. Oh, no, I'm okay, see? I said, and tried to stand up. Tried being the operative word. I swayed, and somehow Cindy caught me. Okay, maybe it is time to go to bed. Dee Dee grabbed my free arm, and they walked me out of the pub, waving to some of the others that were still celebrating. They managed to get me to the guest house without incident. Come on, Billy, you need to palm the door open, Cindy said quietly. Shh, don't want to wake the Admiral, I said. No, definitely not, said Dee Dee. It took a couple of tries, but I managed to get the door open. I couldn't help giggling as I tried to move my feet over the threshold. Can you handle him from here, Cindy? Dee Dee asked. Yeah, see you later, she replied. Later, you two, Dee Dee said. Cindy shook her head, then put an arm around me. Come on, let's get you to bed, all right? Okay, I whispered loudly. There was a night-light glowing in the hallway. I found the open door to my room, and I fell onto the bed. Thank you, I said. For what? Getting you drunk? She asked, helping me take off my socks and shoes. For being awesome. You know you're really pretty. I like you a lot. She blushed, which looked really pretty in the glow of the light of the room. I kind of figured that out. I like you too. You do? I said, half asleep. Yes, you silly boy. Now go to sleep. I'll see you tomorrow. It already is tomorrow, I think. She nodded and started to stand up and walk away. No, please stay, I said. Turning around, she smiled that dazzling smile. All right. I probably would have had a hard time walking home anyway. She took off her shoes, got into bed with me, and snuggled close. I thought about kissing her, but then I closed my eyes. You have been listening to Tales from Flat Space. If you want to support me in my writing, there are many ways to do it. Share this podcast, follow me on my Twitch channel, or buy my books. All you have to do is go to revgenapon.net and click on the relevant links. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you next time.